It's now time for the Coaches Show on News Talk 1250 KBRF and KBRFradio.com, presented by the Viking Cafe and brought to you by the Minnesota Motor Company, Lake Region Healthcare, Nelson Auto Center, Quality Toyota, and by Running Stitches. Now for the Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe, here's Craig Olson.
Welcome to the Coaches Show. Mark Johnson this morning filling in for Craig Olson, who is out on the East Coast. And again, helping his brother whose health is failing, and his sister-in-law passed away too, Susan. So pray for Craig and Sue and Craig as he's away. But I'll be here with you this morning. And again, our Coaches Show is brought to you by the Viking Cafe in downtown Fergus Falls. I got a cup of coffee in my Viking mug here. And we do have biscuits and gravy today for our coaches that come in. They have it down there at the Viking Cafe too. It's one of my favorites. And our Zach Daniels is our studio engineer, and I know Zach's looking forward to biscuits and gravy after this too. But one of the things I want to remind you of during our Coaches Show, text Viking to 321-1926 for a chance to win a $25 gift certificate at the end of the show. So we'll be giving that away at the very end of our show. But let's highlight who's going to be with us this morning. We'll be hopefully talking to Matt Johnson here in a couple of minutes, and then one of the Otter hockey coaches from the boys team will be here following their loss to Minneapolis last night, 4-0. Josh Steer will be here. The Otter girls open up their season with a 71-59 victory over Moorhead. And Isaac Vattenstall will come in with talk about some Otter girls hockey. The Otter girls are 2-2 on the season, and coincidentally, this afternoon, we'll have the Otter girls hockey game against Minnesota River, and that will be a 2:45 pregame and a 3 o'clock puck drop. That'll be on AM 1250 and also streamed on these two platforms on our KBRF Radio YouTube channel and also on the Fergus Now app. But catch up with the Otter girls or head out to the Fergus Falls Community Ice Arena. And then this morning we'll talk with Corey Fry, head coach of the Hillcrest Lutheran Academy Comets, who had an awesome season this year as the Comets are state runners-up. And we'll talk about that game against Hills Beaver Creek, which was played at U.S. Bank Stadium. But what a great season for the Comets. Then we'll round out the show talking to Hannah Clark. Hannah, of course, the head coach of the Hillcrest Lady Comets, as they've played a couple of games so far. They're 1-1 on the season, but we look forward to talking to all of those coaches. And as far as this season going now, the winter season is well underway, and what a great fall season it was for our area teams in swimming and diving and tennis, cross country, football, area football teams, volleyball, and a lot of things happening now. But the winter season is upon us, and the winter season is a bit longer. But what else would we do in Minnesota than take some time and go out and watch our student athletes, or stay at home, watch them on our streams, or listen to the games? So a lot of great things in store for the show this morning. And again, if you'd like to text 321-1926 and to Viking to get your $25 gift certificate from the Viking Cafe. So looking forward to a great show this morning. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back with more as we preview our upcoming broadcast schedule and talk about some things that happened this past week.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe, with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
The 2025 model year closeout pricing has arrived at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. They have just a handful of new 2025 Chevy and Buick vehicles remaining, and all of them are at their lowest prices of the year. From the Chevy Blazer to the Buick Enclave, you won't want to miss out on these great deals. Contact the sales team for more information.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
In just a couple of minutes here, but again, a couple of reminders by way of some broadcast notes here. Again, we got a lot of action coming up on our latent media stations, and really grateful to have so many awesome broadcasters, including Bob Roars and Brad Anderson, and of course Craig Olson, keeping us all going with the schedule and such. But we do have Otter Girls hockey this afternoon, so just to note that you'll want to tune in. 3:45 is the pregame show, and or 2:45, and then we'll also have the puck drop at 3:00. And the Otter Girls. They're 2-2 on the season. They'll take on Minnesota River. You ask, who is Minnesota River? Well, it's LeSueur, Henderson, St. Peter, so teams down in that neck of the woods. And then this week we'll get things rolling on Monday night. There's a girls basketball, Border West and West Central. We'll kick it off with Bob Roars. And then the Otter boys will open their season on Tuesday, December 2nd. And they'll take on Moorhead, and that is at home on a KBRF, so an earlier start to that one. That's a 5:45 tip-off, 5:30 pregame show. And speaking of the Otter boys basketball team, they've had a couple weeks of practice, and like the girls, they will also open against Moorhead, and a very tough Central Lake schedule. And last year, of course, the Otter boys made it to the section championship, losing to Alexandria, who consequently won the state championship. So a great season for Alexandria with that. But the Otter boys are getting things rolling, and of course they'll return some excellent players and just build off of last year's success. And as far as their schedule goes, following that, they'll take on Wilmer on the 3rd, December 4th on Thursday, and then it'll be Brainerd, Sartell, and Detroit Lakes, Apollo, and then the Christmas break, and then they'll continue on with Little Falls and Alex, Grand Rapids, Sauk Rapids, right on down the line. But the season does go quickly. There's no question about that. And again, last night, the Otter boys hockey team suffered a 4-0 loss to a very good Minneapolis team. The Otter boys opened up with a 7-1 win over Marshall last Saturday, and I saw a number of scores in that game. And we'll talk to one of the Otter boys hockey staff here in just a couple of minutes and get their thoughts on last night's game, and also preview the upcoming week 2, where the Otters will take on St. Cloud on Tuesday. So a lot taking place, a lot of action, and looking forward to the rest of the season. We'll take another break. We'll come back with more on our Coaches Show after this time on.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
The 2025 model year closeout pricing has arrived at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. They have just a handful of new 2025 Chevy and Buick vehicles remaining, and all of them are at their lowest prices of the year. From the Chevy Blazer to the Buick Enclave, you won't want to miss out on these great deals. Contact the sales team for more information.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show. Mark Johnson with you this morning, pardon me. I'm not into the afternoon already, but, as we think about today, too, I just wanted to mention, too, Craig Olson is gone, and he is out in the East Coast helping his brother with some serious health concerns, and his sister-in-law passed away, too, so I'm here helping Craig out, and we'll do whatever we can, but keep praying for Craig and Sue Olson and their family. Don't forget Viking Cafe. I got a Viking Cafe mug here, and they're a sponsor of the Coaches Show. And I was in there this morning, and it's an awesome atmosphere. You can smell the food when you walk in. I came in the back door. I picked up about 10 biscuits and gravy dishes, and we're sharing with the coaches. And then also, Zach Daniels, our studio engineer, and I'm going to have a little bite after. But text 321-1926 of the Viking Cafe, a chance to win a gift certificate, $25 gift certificate. Pete, if you'll slide the mic just a little closer to you. So yeah. I'm joined by Peter Johnson, and if you're asking, he is my son, and he's assistant coach with head coach Mike Donahue and also Isaac Young, and then Mike Alt with the Otter hockey team. And so, Pete, it's good to have you here, and you got that new hat, Running Stitches Embroidery.
Yeah, I walked in here and have a hat, and I said, sure, won't turn that down.
Yeah, and you're a hat guy too, kind of like your old man. We don't use that terminology, but that's what I am. So let's backtrack here a little bit, Peter, and talk about the Otters' first game last Saturday down in Marshall. And you guys got on the bus, left a little before 9 o'clock, go down to Red Baron Arena, and came out with a 7-1 win. But talk about the early minutes of that game and just the play of Holden Stenstrom just to help our team get settled in.
Yeah, it was a good fun day, a good long day. Like you said, we got on the bus at about 9 and about 2.5 hours down there, and came down and came out a little flat. And luckily, senior goaltender there, Holden Stenstrom, he really held us in it there for the first, probably 9-10 minutes of that first period. And we knew if we could get through that a little bit, that we could probably come out on top. And luckily, he held us out long enough where we could really pour it to him in the second.
Yeah, I think the shots at the end of the first period were 10-4 in favor of Marshall. And then we ended out shooting them, 2-1 in that game. As we think about that, let's just move from the goal crease out a little bit and just talk about our defensive core right now and just the things that they're learning. Again, we return Tanner Donahue, return Brody Cryan, return Brant Sherman, but also some new guys back there.
Yeah, so we've had a couple of different new guys join the defensive squad there with number 8, Luke Warner, and then also Chase Johnson. And we're excited about those two. They each bring a little bit different skill set. Chase, physical player, kind of all over the ice. Luke, more of a defensive-minded, can bring some offense too. He can handle the puck well and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how those two kind of pan out, whether it be competing for that 4 spot or being able to run 5D, which would be really ideal for getting guys a rest in certain situations.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed too about this year's team, too, we return. Luke Johnson was a leading returning scorer. He's a sophomore, and then we also returned, of course, Bennett Tilke, who's a junior, Parker Tilke, who's injured, as a senior. And, thinking of Nolan Wadle and also Quinn Sheldon. some returning guys, but we need to generate some offense now, don't we, too? And we're a younger team and have a line, too, of 2 sophomores and a freshman, too.
Yeah, it's a really interesting mix this year. Like you said, we got fair amount of returners, and we got a lot of younger guys who we feel like can play and compete. But it's a definite jump coming up from Bantams to high school. All of a sudden, you got those sophomores playing against seniors, guys that are 18 years old, and it happens quick. And I think we saw that more so last night against Minneapolis than we did in Marshall, just with their skill level. But no, it's exciting, and it's a long season, so we got a long time here to get these guys up to speed. But like you said, the scoring, everybody knows it's no secret. I mean, we losing Schmidt last year, and Kennedy and Shaky. We had some seniors that first line put up a lot of our points, and just knowing that coming in, and just got to try to find ways to generate some offense.
As we think about this year's team too, we had some injuries early on, and in that game against Marshall, just feel so bad for Coulter McGinnis, sustained an injury, and then we also are missing Parker Tilke and also Jared Kennedy too.
Yeah, the first day of practice, literally about half hour in, Jared gets a stick on his hand and breaks his wrist, and he's out 2 to 3 months, which is basically our season. And that was a stinker. We thought he would have been one that could really have grown this year a lot and come into a role. And then, like you said, then Parker with his knee, kind of dealing with an issue from football and ongoing. So we're just being really cautious with that because it's such a long season. And then, then with Coulter there, that first game in Marshall, I think it's like a second shift, and broke his collarbone just about, basically in half, and surgery last Wednesday. And that's a real stinker. We had really high hopes for him with his skill set and skating ability. He could really get around on the ice, and was going to likely be paired probably with Luke and Caden up there and kind of let them settle in. But it happens. It's just unfortunate for him because you get 3 years of high school hockey, and within a blink of an eye, one is gone. So we feel bad for him.
Yeah. So Minneapolis comes to town. It's a team we've never played before. Joe Diedzik was their coach, former Gopher pro player. He goes over to Breck, and with one of their leading scorers, they graduated some guys, but they really had a solid team, didn't they, last night? And thinking about their team too, they were really, really strong on the blue line, weren't they? And those were the returners.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that. We didn't have a whole lot of sniff in their offensive zone with their D skill set. We didn't generate a whole lot of shots, and ultimately didn't end up scoring last night, and that's a tough draw. But they were also, their depth at forward was pretty evident.
They did play 4 lines a lot of the game.
They played 4 lines all game. That's very rare in high school hockey to be that deep. Where I think their 4th line actually had 2 of the 4 goals. Where how the rotation works out. You're trying to match lines and keep guys, similar skill sets, and it just gets all out of whack when they're that deep and can keep going like that. So yeah, that's something we'll work through too, and trying to get some depth ourselves.
Holden Stenstrom gave up a couple goals in the first period, 1 in the second, and but he made 50 stops out of 54. He was busy back there, wasn't he? And once he settled in after those first 2 goals, he really kept us in the game. We actually 3-0. You get a chance if you score one, but he really played well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, it was 2-0 after 1, 3-0 after 2 and 4. So it wasn't like a big bargade where they came and got a bunch of goals and ran over us. And they just ultimately kind of wore us down a little bit, I think. And with that depth, and like you said, maybe like to have 1 or 2 of those back, but at the end of the day, it was partially responsible for our D and then even our forwards in one particular, in a back checking situation. And I think that's just some of those little things are what you see with a little younger team in terms of responsibility and just really starting to defend first and then kind of work out. And so, but yeah, no, Holden played great. I mean, anytime you see over 50 shots a game, you're going to be busy as a goalie.
No question. Thinking back, Pete, you played varsity as a freshman, and we have freshmen, sophomore, and some juniors getting some varsity experience. But In your experience with that, and I've heard Coach Donahue talk about this too, it usually takes till about Christmas. Really, just everything.
It really does, yeah. Just the speed and especially the physicality too. I think, Bantams they start checking in Bantams, and once you get to high school, everyone's got 2 years of checking under their belt. But when you start getting that little age difference, a little more of an age gap in high school, and skill set and just the intensity definitely ratchets up. Guys start to realize, hey, I got a year left of hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I got 26 games left, and stuff really ratchets up. So I think coming along in that, and we saw it in the third. I mean, we can match their physicality in the third, and like I said, only gave up one goal in the third, and we didn't give up, and which is good to see. But I think that's something we need to bring right from the start of the game, and then kind of bring that through and kind of be the driver. We were a little bit reactionary yesterday in terms of the physicality, where we were getting a little bit beat up, and we matched it, which is good, but we got to be that enforcer right away.
Yeah, it seemed like we were kind of chasing the game a little bit, and like you mentioned, that third period, it seemed like we had a little more fire in our belly too, and that's a learning thing too, isn't it? Just to know what it takes and at what level you got to compete at the varsity level.
Exactly, like every single shift, you can't take any off. It just the goals happen so fast, and all of a sudden, like, you blink and you're down 2-0, and that's doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a deep hole. So you just got to bring that right away and kind of dictate that game a little more instead of playing reactionary.
Talk about head coach Donahue, I believe in his 22nd year as the head coach, and then talk about your role, talk about Isaac Young's role, and also Mike Alt joining the crew too. Just how that all mix works. With
it's been a really great mix here. Alt was a good addition. He coached for must have been 15 years or something with Donahue earlier on, and then was away for a little while, and then he has a son, Cullen Alt, on the team, and it all panned out where Donnie kind of oversees the game more so, and then I kind of run the defenseman, Isaac Young runs the forwards, and Mike Alt is kind of an eye in the sky, and great addition to have in terms of practice and intensity, and he brings a certain mojo too that I think will help the guys here, and so it's just been a good mix. Mike Donahue reached out to him it's like a day before the season. It's like, hey, you want to come back and help? And he's like, sure. So it's been good to have extra hands like that.
All right. So we turn our sights to St. Cloud, and just interesting, and I don't want to belabor the point, but Minneapolis, 7 high schools to make the team. St. Cloud, 2 high schools because Cathedral's on their own. They're going to be good. There's no question.
That's ultimately, when you look at the numbers that they're drawing from, it's pretty ridiculous compared to the numbers we have to draw and field the team, and that's kind of the nature of the beast. But yeah, we're proud of our guys for what they did.
That's exactly right.
Against a big school like that.
Yeah, that's for sure. As we're kind of wrapping things up here a little bit, I was thinking about in recent years, you yourself played junior hockey and then college hockey too, but having guys going on, and I think getting a passion for the game is kind of neat. But I was just looking at, we have Jack Weldy playing for the Sheridan Hawks. We have Braden Albert playing in the USPHL in Michigan, Aiden Shakey for the Alexandria Blizzard, Michael Schmidt playing for Granite City Lumberjacks, Michael DeBrito playing ACHA Division I at Liberty University, and Isaac Johnson playing in the BCHL and headed to Bemidji State next fall. But being involved, it's got to make you guys feel good as a staff to see people going on playing post high school and just loving the game.
It is fun. That's ultimately
I hope I didn't miss anybody.
Yeah, I know. It's hard. Declan Young just graduated from
St.
Scholastica up there, and golf too. But anyways, it's fun to see that kind of passion for the game, keep going. And at the end of the day, you got to enjoy it. And I think we have a fair amount of players that are enjoying things, and that's kind of what drives that, push for wanting to keep playing.
2 games under our belt. What are some focuses this week in practice? Just after, you play a good Minneapolis last night, it exposes some things. Or what are some areas of emphasis do you think this week for you guys?
Well, I'd say it's honestly pretty similar to before. We knew, we knew we're younger and needed, get some games under our belt, and that bringing that physicality and that intensity right away. I think we saw it, and now we know they can do it, and just trying to draw that out consistently, where it's not in spurts, and then just trying to find ways to get pucks in the net, whether it's shots and rebounds or looking backdoor plays, just a little more. Try to stretch them a little bit more again here. Offensively, there's always some amount of growing you can do to kind of get everyone on the same page to produce some goals.
Well, thanks a lot, Peter, for filling in for Coach Donahue today, and I'm sure we'll see Isaac a little bit later and Coach Donahue too. But St. Cloud next week, and appreciate it.
Yep, thanks.
All right, don't forget, text 321-1926, Viking Cafe, $25 gift certificate at the end of the show. And Peter, don't forget to grab you can grab 2. Bring for your family, too, because biscuits and gravy. So looking forward to that. Again, Zach Daniels is our engineer. We'll be joined by Josh Steer in just a couple minutes. Talk some Otter girls basketball.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
The 2025 model year closeout pricing has arrived at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. They have just a handful of new 2025 Chevy and Buick vehicles remaining, and all of them are at their lowest prices of the year. From the Chevy Blazer to the Buick Enclave, you won't want to miss out on these great deals. Contact the sales team for more information.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show. Mark Johnson filling in for Craig Olson, who's out on the East Coast helping his brother Jim, and sister-in-law Susan passed away too. So we got to pray for the Olson family there. And I know he's got a lot going on. He's still doing his Craig Olson Sports as he's out there too. And joined by Josh Steer, head coach of the Otter girls basketball team. And just talking before going on the air with Peter, you coached him in football, and you've been 15 years coaching here in Fergus now.
Yeah, this is year number 15, and it seems like it's gone really fast. And they always say that it does, and now that I've got a few kids of my own, it really goes quick. But it's so fun to see those former athletes, no matter if it's on the boys' side or girls' side, starting their own lives and coaching a sport of his own now. And so good for Peter. It's fun to listen to him and the young man that he's become. And apparently he had a good role model to learn from.
It's my wife. Josh, let's kind of set the table before we talk about the Moorhead game and just talk about, coming into the season here. And let's start out just with your coaching staff again. You got a great staff alongside you.
Yeah, I've got Jess Price assisting. She's the varsity assistant. Comes with a wealth of knowledge, and she coached at the college for a lot of years, and a heck of a basketball player. Still has her name up on the record board in the Otter hallway there. And then I have Nick Keel coaching the JV. He comes with a lot of big personality. If you see him, walking the sidelines, he can be an intimidating factor, but he does.
We do miss him broadcasting.
Yes, absolutely.
But we're glad that he's coaching.
He did a great job doing that too, and he officiated a little bit last year too. So we kind of stole him, and he does a great job with the girls, getting them ready for the varsity floor, which which will be important for us this year. And then I have Matt Lemke coaching our B team again this year, and he's just been a steady, stable force. He's been here longer than I have, and he's been a member of the staff for all the 15 years I've been around.
Yeah, awesome. And returning Hattie Fullhart, who's headed to college, play some basketball. Great to hear that. Ruby, Ellison, Carly Hurst, and then Reese Keel's been injured. Maybe give us an update. And then Elizabeth Clinert, Savannah Lee, and Presley Warren are some getting in the mix. But talk about your returners and give us an update too on Reese.
Yeah, so Reese, she had a little bit of a collision in the summer in July, and she ended up fracturing a bone on the top of, well, it'll be the bottom of her knee, I suppose, or the top of her tibia or fibula, whichever one it is.
Yeah,
Anyway, so she had that injury all summer long and kind of couldn't get over the hump, even sat out all the volleyball season. So kind of a bummer for her. And now she was finally cleared and good to go. And all of a sudden you start to realize that, some of those muscles maybe tightened up a little bit in the surrounding area. And all of a sudden now your foot kind of hurts a little bit, and you've got some pulled ligaments and muscles in the ankle area on the same side as you injured your knee. So just dealing with that and kind of stretching that out, loosening that up. And I feel like we've got a good handle on it. Nick did a good job. Coach Keel did a nice job of rehabbing her a little bit here these last few weeks. And I think she's going to be ready to go now. But as far as our returners go, we bring back 3 starters, which is great. That's a great experienced core to come back. We did lose Bryn Sternberg, our leading scorer, and over 1,000-point scorer. So a big hole to fill there. But, we kind of went with the adage of our defense is going to create our offense. And I think against Moorhead, we really leaned on those girls' experience because they've been there before and they've had that first game. But we also had some girls in the starting lineup that had never played on the varsity floor before. So, Grace Black got a start due to Reese's injury. She was our backup point guard. So we just plugged her into the lineup instead of kind of playing merry-go-round with the rest of the girls. And she comes in her first varsity start and hits her first 3 of the night and gets us started with the first 3 points. And for a freshman to be able to do that was impressive. And I think it was because of the demeanor of Hattie and Ruby and Carly in the warm-ups and the moments leading up to the game of, we got this. It's let's just go do what we do. And I think it panned out really well. But, Presley has some experience. Elizabeth Clinert has some experience coming back. And, they got on the floor and they know what it's like. And it's more physical and it's faster. And they learned that last year no matter how many minutes they got.
Sure. Now, you beat Moorhead 70-59. And we love people in Moorhead, but we'd love to beat them. No question.
Yeah.
So 70-59. But you guys got off to a really good start in that one. And your pressure seemed to get to kind of their younger guards and such.
Yeah,
and you converted on those.
Yeah, and we shot the ball really well. So we capitalized on the turnovers that they did have. At the end of the game, we actually ended up with 10 more turnovers than they did.
So there was quite a bit in the game.
And it was the first game, right?
Yeah.
You're going to see those numbers be probably higher than in the middle of the year to end of the year. But we created whether we created a turnover or we created a quick shot. Those are the goals in any pressure is to get them to play faster than they want to. And if we can get them to take a really quick shot, and then we limit them to 1 shot per possession. So we rebounded well and limited to one shot. And when you do that, and you can capitalize on the other end, the first half, I think we shot over 40% from the field, which is really good. And when you're doing that, you can put up 40 points in a half. And defensively, we were putting a lot of pressure on them, and we had them playing really fast. And I don't think they liked that very much. So, to take a 40-19 halftime lead, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Big game for Hattie, 17 points, 16 rebounds. Carly had a double-double with 18 points and 9 boards, really close to that. But talk about what those two mean to this team, just with their experience and tenacity too.
Well, and I think you just hit the nail on the head, their tenacity. Carly Hurst, I don't know if I've seen a competitor quite like her.
I loved watching her in volleyball when she'd get a spike, just so many things, or a block. Same thing.
She just has that. She has that competitive drive, and almost to a fault where she really wants to win and she hates to lose. And you don't know if she loves to win more than she hates to lose.
Right,
you don't know which one it is.
Yeah.
But it's great to see because a lot of kids don't have that that edge to them, and you kind of have to play with. You have to have somebody on your team that plays with an edge like that. And then both her and Hattie have a motor. You know, they will go till the very end, and they will go till they can't anymore. And physically, we saw in the Moorhead game, we were a little bit, I'll say, out of shape in the fact that we cramped up a little bit.
Nothing like game conditioning either, right?
Right.
Because the nerves and everything.
Yeah, you can't mimic the amount of pressure and time, you know, because you're playing more minutes and it's hard to practice that hard, to be honest. And they just really, they play that hard. And that's what separates them. You know, that's why they have double doubles the very first game of the year. And if they can continue to do that, we'll be in really, really good shape. But it's one of those things that it's a mentality in both of them that you don't see very often. And it's a drive, and literally physically they will go till they can't anymore.
And having a threat like Ruby too can shoot the three, and then Presley Warren comes in and gets 10 points. They each got 10 points, but it's great to see that. And then also those guys distributed the ball too.
Well, right, you know, we had I think we had 13 assists on the night, and that's good. We're sharing the ball, we're converting. But yeah, when you have 4 kids scoring double digits, you're well balanced. And that's the kind of score sheet that you want, because now when Sartell or Wilmer or DL has to defensively game plan for you, it's like, okay, well, you can't stop all 4.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Ella Black comes off the bench and hits 2 threes, and she gave us great minutes on whatever night that was. Tuesday night. Yeah, that's been so long.
I know.
Right, or Thursday? Yeah, it was Thursday night.
Thursday.
It was Thursday before Thanksgiving. Yeah, but anyway, it was great for a kid like that. You know, she's a junior. Ella comes in and playing a role where she's going to come off the bench and give us good minutes. And it was great to see her take care of the basketball, defend, and hit a couple of shots. So, you throw 4 kids in double digits, but you also throw a couple of kids at 6 and 4, and all of a sudden you're really hard to defend.
Yeah, for sure. For our fans and those, watching the games, going to the games, what are we going to see? Up-tempo kind of team likes to push it?
Yeah, I think when we're looking from last year to this year, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to score more points, losing Bryn Sternberg. Yeah, we have kids like Ruby Ellison who can shoot it. We have kids like Hattie Fullhart that can get to the rim, and Carly Hurst, and they can offensive rebound, and they can do all those things. Presley Warren's really athletic. You can get to the rim. But in the half court, offense is really hard, and especially early.
Hasn't it changed with the 3-point line too?
Oh, for sure,
like
right?
just
and even transition offense. When you get the rebound on the defensive side and you push it, I mean, transition 3-pointers are a huge part of the game. It's not just a half court set that sets you up. It's kids pushing and running out in front, and instead of attacking a layup, they'll shoot a 3 because hey, it's worth 1 more point, right? But we have the ability to run the floor. I think this year we're long, we're athletic. We don't have a true post player, I wouldn't say right now. So playing in the half court, we'll play a little bit different, but we're going to have to use our athleticism. We're going to have to defend. I think, our goal is to keep teams in the 40s if we can. We didn't hit that goal against Moorhead, but we did get to empty the bench, which is always a good sign too. And we turn the ball over a little bit too much. But I think you're going to see this year a team that gets out and wants to run, wants to push the floor, has to have that full court defense in their back pocket. And you might see us change it up from time to time from man to zone. So it's going to be who we are. And we're, the Moorhead game maybe wasn't the prettiest of games. There's a lot of fouls called. There's a lot of turnovers. But I think it was a team that went out there and they worked really, really hard, and they left it all on the floor. And I think that's what you're going to see.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk, just give our listeners a little update on the conference and section, who you look to see being really strong in both those areas.
Yeah, the conference hasn't changed yet. We've got DL and Alec and Brainerd and Wilmer and all the usual suspects. Sartell, Sauk Rapids, or Corey, St. Cloud. I don't think I missed anybody, but
it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it didn't. But, you're going to see Brainerd's going to be really, really good. They're a big 4A school. They should be really good. They've got a lot of returning girls. They've got a lot of younger girls that are really coming along, and Coach Nelson there has done a great job in that program. So they're going to be good. Wilmer's going to be good. They're in the section and the conference. Alec is always good. They're just always solid. So they'll be another conference contender. Sartell, Coach Martin down in Sartell always gets them to play hard. They defend well. So they're always a tough beat. They're a tough sweep. And then so when you look at the section, then you have Wilmer. They're the favorite. They have everybody back from last year. He's mixing in some younger kids. Would have loved to have gotten that game in on Tuesday to go down there and play them, but unfortunately the weather didn't cooperate, so we rescheduled that one. And then Sartell comes to town on Tuesday, and they're another one that's going to be right there in the mix. And then Little Falls, I think, is going to be in the section. They're going to be in the mix in that top 4 too. So I think the top 4, we're going to be right in the mix, and Wilmer and Sartell and Little Falls.
I was talking with Peter about guys going on to play basketball too, and Hattie Fullhart, congratulations to her and the Fullharts. But talk about her NLI and her signing here recently.
Yeah, so she's going to Jamestown, and that's a really good get for them. I mean, she's such a good human. When you talk about, she's a great basketball player. She's an even better person. So for Jamestown to get that caliber of kid, let alone basketball player, I think is a good get for them. So I can't say enough about Hattie Fullhart. She's a great kid to coach. She plays the game the right way, and she works about as hard as anybody to get whatever comes her way. She's definitely earned it.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Just love to see those players going on. So, Josh, thanks for coming in and turning our hearts to Sartell, and should be a good week.
Yeah, we're looking forward to a couple more days of practice, and then hosting Sartell on Tuesday night. So come on out.
All right. Josh Sternberg, head coach of the Outer Girls basketball team. Isaac Vattenstall is on deck next, but don't forget 321-1926. Text that for your chance to win a $25 gift certificate. So, all right. We'll be back after this with some Outer Girls hockey.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
The 2025 model year closeout pricing has arrived at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. They have just a handful of new 2025 Chevy and Buick vehicles remaining, and all of them are at their lowest prices of the year. From the Chevy Blazer to the Buick Enclave, you won't want to miss out on these great deals. Contact the sales team for more information.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show. I'm Mark Johnson, filling in for Craig Olson, joined by Isaac Vattenstall, head coach of the Outer Girls hockey team. And again, before we get into our interview, I just want to remind people about the Viking Cafe, the sponsor of our show. And we do have a winner. We'll keep you on the edge of your seats or the edge of your couch or the edge of your car seat as we'll announce the winner here in just a bit. I'm joined by Isaac Vattenstall. We're going to talk about a couple of games and then preview today's game as well. But first of all, Outer Girls are 2-2, and Isaac, how are you settling in as head coach? You got, a few months under your belt now.
Yeah.
So just talk about that experience, how it's been so far.
It's been great. I don't really have anything to complain about. The girls are good. The coaching staff is great, and I think it's just you can tell that the girls are now starting to get a little more comfortable too with us.
Mm-hmm.
Their personalities are coming out a little bit more, and So it's been fun. We had picture day yesterday, so that was an experience.
Sure, yeah.
Different.
It took a little longer, right? Than you
thought. Took a little longer than I was anticipating. Oh yeah. It took a little longer than I was anticipating, and I think any of us were anticipating. So, but they also, I told them at the beginning of the practice when we got done with that, it's important to them, so it's important to us. So it's completely fine. So
yeah, it is
a little different.
And at the end of the day, there are a lot of competitors. You're a competitor. We're all competitors, but you got to really enjoy this time because it goes really quick.
It goes real quick.
Super quick.
Yeah, it goes real quick. It's been fun, and I've really enjoyed it. And it's a lot different too. With the girls versus the boys. I come out and they're asking me, "What's my favorite music genre?" And I'm
right.
Like, how does that have any relevance to what we're? So it's just fun.
That's awesome. So you guys opened up with a 7-1 win over Marshall down there. Then you beat Wilmer 4-2. Oh, lost to Marshall.
Yep.
Beat Wilmer. And then we go to Sartell. And again, they're paired with Sauk Rapids and a good program down there. And we win 4-3 on the road. And I tell you what, that was an exciting game, wasn't it?
It was.
And prior to that, the JV game was a 4-4 tie.
Yep.
And there was a lot of excitement.
A lot of excitement. Yeah, they got a goal with 4 seconds left.
Yeah.
Coming into that, So it was a lot of fun
to build up to that. But let's talk about that game against Sartell. In that game, we go to overtime, and let's talk about the overtime, and then I'll work our way back a little bit. But 2:11 in, Rachel DeBrito's got a hard shot.
Yep. And
goes D to D, and she buries. But that had to give the team just a huge lift.
Well, it was nice because we kept coming back. They didn't roll over, and we were down, and then we came back, and then we were down again 3-1 in the second. Came back to tie it, and showed a lot of resilience. But I think it was nice just to get a little bit of that lift at the end, because if they would have lost the game, not that it's all about that, but if they would have lost that game, I think it might have been a little deflating. It was nice to it's nice to get the win. With also doing the right things in comparison to feel like you're doing the right things and then getting that loss and it's a little deflating. So I think it was nice to see them to put in the effort, get a little bit of the results that we're looking for throughout the season and have that happen right away to really kind of trust the process even more. So that was fun to have that happen.
Yeah. So Brindley Harris gets the first goal and her first varsity goal. How exciting was that for her and for the team?
Well, she's pretty quiet, so she's got the big smile when you start talking about it. But she's she really has come into her own here in the last couple games. She's really settled down, and her and DeBrito really pair well together. So it's been fun seeing that too.
And then Brindley Scholl gets the second goal, and Avery Tonneson the second goal. Or the third goal, and the tying, but Maddie Brimhall, got a nice pass from Rachel to tie the game up late, and she's got a hard shot, and she goes like low blocker.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and the thing I loved about that too, and I think we talked about it after the post game down in Sartell, is the effort to get to that puck and win that race, because that wouldn't have happened if she wouldn't have been racing that girl next to her and beat her, and she's strong enough to be able to stay on that puck and win that battle and then get that shot off. So kudos to Brimhall for going at it, because it's hard to do that and still keep control and maintain possession and then get that shot off. So it was fun to see that.
No, the Otters have still been without the services of Brooke Zierden. I know she'll add a lot to the blue line. She's this will be her third or fourth year playing varsity hockey. But how are things coming along for Brooke?
She was out on the ice yesterday and just kind of getting her hands going, getting her feet going a little bit. So hopefully we'll be able to get her back here soon, because I think it's just going to add to what we have, like you said. It's certainly not going to hurt us. So I'm excited to be able to get her back and be able to get her in the lineup and get her rotating through.
All right. Wayzata comes to town, and I was talking to their head coach before the game, and there was a lot of movement in high school hockey, and they lost 8 girls to other schools, but they brought 24 girls. And of course, Wayzata, if you go to the arena down there, the Plymouth Ice Center, and you look at their youth teams, and you see, 4 or 5, 15U teams, you see 6, 7, 12U teams.
Yes, a lot of kids.
They're reloading, but they really came out and outshot the Otters 56-20. That's a lot of shots, but they were a very good team, weren't they?
They're bigger, faster, stronger as we expected them to be. They're a good AA team. I think they just had their first loss. Looking at that last week, and so we expected them to be that. And all we could do is really focus on what we were able to do, which was play good positionally with what we were working on. So play a good position and get after the puck. And I think we kind of gave them a little bit of a shock that we did that. And I think sometimes, any team, it doesn't matter who you are, if you're not ready for, or expecting that, then you can kind of have a little bit of a whoa. And they had that. We were up 2-1 and they took a timeout and said, whoa, let's settle down. And then they ended up, tying it back up, and we went 3-3 coming into the third. So it was a fun battle. But we gave them a little bit too much time and space with some penalties, and they really took advantage of that. I felt like they had 8 to 10 shots every power play.
So they
had a lot of
pretty high skill on their power
very
play.
skilled, very skilled. And it also gave us an opportunity to look at what we need to work on. And as a coaching staff, that's the first thing we talked about was hey, we got to work on power play and penalty kill. There's so much that we've been introducing to these girls that it's just one more added element that we just haven't really been able to really focus on. So now we've looked at that the last week and said, okay, let's really stay good positionally here and see if that will develop here over the next couple weeks, which I think it will. But that was one thing that it really exposed.
Hannah Johnson and Avery Tonneson get your first 2 goals, and those guys have motors, don't they?
Yes.
And they're killing penalties and like that too. But just talk about those 2 guys. They got the first 2 goals for us.
Yes. Well, the thing, great effort by Hannah. Went down, got the puck, went on the far side, and then went, kind of a little bit of a thing in front of the goalie and beat the D wide, and a great individual effort when we had a line change, right? So it just kept going. And then with Tonneson, it was a great play to be able to interrupt the defenseman, I think, on the blue line. There was 2 players there, got it, and then just buried it. She's got a hard shot. So it was fun to be able to see that, and it just gave us a lot of momentum, and everyone on the bench was pretty excited when that happened.
Yeah, and she spent a lot of time in the S&P Center.
Yes.
There's no question about that. And then later in the game, we had a power play goal from Aubrey Nelson and then also Maddie Brimhall too. But even though you haven't spent a ton of time on the power play, correct? We got a couple power play goals. That was good.
Yeah, we did. Well, and the thing is, the girls move the puck well, so if they just go play, they do fine. They know where to go. They know what they're doing. They know where they need to pass the puck and move their feet to be able to get to the puck and everything else. They know what they're doing. So it's nice to be able to see that they can score even just by, will and effort. So I'm hoping that, maybe we'll hurt it more than help it. But, but I think it's one of those things where you just add a little more element, you add a couple more layers, and you get to the point where you're able to, fine tune it a little bit more and hopefully be more efficient with it.
Yeah. Olivia Juergens faced 56 shots, made 48 saves, and I know her and Ella have been kind of going back and forth, but talk about both those guys and where we're at goaltending-wise.
Yeah, well, and the thing I love about it is the fact that they have an opportunity to step up. Both seniors. Ella, we were talking to her. It's her first home game start. We're going to have her start.
She had
today.
that long injury. Last couple of years. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it's been great for them to have an opportunity to be able to play and be in that spot. And Olivia had a great game against Wayzata. It's a lot of shots. I don't care how you slice. That's a lot of shots. And for her to only have as many goals as what there were, it's still a good save percentage. So their attitudes have been fantastic. They ask a lot of questions, and they work really hard. So it's fun. And they support each other really good too. So it's nice.
Yeah. What are some we're in game 5 this afternoon, but areas of emphasis this past week, or you're kind of building from the back out the defense, this penalty kill, power play. But what are areas of emphasis just team wise right now?
Area right now, the main theme that we had on Wednesday was we go all out all the time. And the reason why is because when we played Wayzata, we started, I don't want to say giving up, but there are teams that know how to go full effort all the time, even with the little things. And it's the back checks. It's the rebounds in front of the net where you don't give up if the puck is loose, even if for a half a second. That's a long time when the puck's laying there.
Yeah.
So all out all the time is really kind of the theme. And, we had some practice on Wednesday, and the girls, I think, could tell you about it. But we didn't skate much, but we did very quick bursts of all out for 10 seconds or all out for 20 seconds. And I think there was girls laying, they were just exhausted.
It's always the pre-Thanksgiving skate though. Every kid knows it, right? It's like,
yes. But I think what it showed them was they have more in the tank. And, they're already a quick and fast team, but if we can keep pushing on them to be able to push themselves further, I'm hoping that comes out today because, when you have somebody right on your back on a dump, or if you have somebody coming flying in on you on a offensive, going in on a 3-on-2 or 2-on-1 or whatever it is, zone entry, it's not easy to defend, right? And you make mistakes. So we're hoping that our speed and our quickness and our resiliency can, kind of show that and prove that a little bit.
I like that all the time. I was talking to former Otter head coach Matt Kowalska, and of course he played for the Gophers, 2-time national champ.
Yep.
Played in the minor league, played some NHL hockey before his injury. But he said this: someone once told him, when you think you've given it everything, you got a little more.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
and it's interesting. And it's easy to say that in the stands as a coach or as a parent.
Yes.
But there's something about that too.
There is
that competitiveness.
Well, and I, we were watching Miracle, and you could take 8 million different lines from that movie, but I think the greatest one is at the very beginning when he, mentioned the team and said, if you give 100% effort, and I'll completely butcher the actual line, but he said, you give me 99%, you make my job a lot easier.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
And they only know if they're going all out between their ears and, what their body feels like. So getting them to understand that and push themselves to their limits and then go a little bit further, it's fun to see because they're doing it. That's what's nice.
And that is true. And I've watched it over the years with this group. There's a lot of tenacity, a lot of fight. You know what I mean? It's fun to see. And then for the younger players to kind of just learn that too. It's the role models. It's huge.
Yeah. And we're doing a lot of basics, and sometimes the boring stuff is the most important because a lot of people don't like focusing on it because it just can be not mind numbing to do it.
Yeah.
But it shows up everywhere, all over the ice, whether it's passing or proper stick handling or shooting or even just skating stride, just working on those types of things really hones in the ability to do everything else and execute well.
Yeah. So this afternoon, it's a broadcast game. It's on our YouTube channel, KBRF Radio, and also on the Fergus Now app and on AM 1250 KBRF. Minnesota River comes to town. St. Peter, which is a big town. You got LeSueur Henderson in there too, but have you got a chance to kind of see what St. Peter's going to bring today?
Yeah.
Or Minnesota River?
Yeah. And I was, just trying to, just like with every game, I think, me looking into who are playing, what they've done, who their players are, just trying to research as much as I possibly can, or if there's an ability to be able to watch video, because some you have to pay for, some you don't.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Ours is free.
Yeah,
it's
ours
awesome.
is,
Let's go.
It's great. But they beat East Grand last night 4-2. I noticed that, so they're going to be on the road, and they stayed overnight. They had a game last night, so I'm hoping that we can get after them early. But I would imagine that they're going to be a skilled team. It's hard to know because I just don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
But they did beat East Grand last night, and again on the road, driving, tired. I'm hoping we can get after them right away and shut them down early.
All right. So looking forward to that one. So. Yeah. Do you have a hat, Isaac, yet?
I do.
Okay,
yes,
all right. Okay.
I do.
You do,
yes.
all right. And you gave it to your...
I gave it to my grandpa.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I gave it to my grandpa because I figured he'd appreciate that, and he did, and he watches and listens to the game, and he appreciates it a lot.
That's fun. So Running Stitches Embroidery, one of our sponsors too, and appreciate you coming in, Isaac. Don't forget, grab some biscuits and gravy.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah,
okay,
I'll do that.
And then I think you're headed out possibly hunting today.
I'm yes.
Possibly is a Scandinavian way of saying yes.
Yes, so. That's most likely. That's my possibly is most likely. Yes, I got the dog in the truck, and I'm gonna go out for just a couple hours or an hour and a half just to kind of get my mind off things.
All right.
Get ready for the game today.
All right. Thanks, Isaac.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
All right. Isaac Vattenstall, head coach of the Otter girls hockey team, again today against Minnesota River. I have that game for you. 2:45 pregame show, 3 o'clock puck drop. We'll come back with more after this break.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
The 2025 model year closeout pricing has arrived at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. They have just a handful of new 2025 Chevy and Buick vehicles remaining, and all of them are at their lowest prices of the year. From the Chevy Blazer to the Buick Enclave, you won't want to miss out on these great deals. Contact the sales team for more information.
Minnesota, Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
We're back, and again, the Coaches Show, and again, Viking Cafe, our sponsor of the Coaches Show. We just appreciate their sponsorship. They also sponsor on our broadcast our keys to the game, too. And don't forget, today we'll have Otter girls hockey, 3 o'clock puck drop, 2:45 pregame show. That'll be on AM 1250, and then also on the Fergus Now app. And I tell you what, that app, Zach is our game set engineer, is totally awesome. I'm going to pump the app because you're looking for a sports stream. You just open up the app once you download it, obviously, and you hit sports stream, and there's your game. And if you missed a game, you can go back and watch a game. If you want some news, Derek City, and you just push, the home button. You see the news stories, and he does a recap on Fridays, and it's great. And also, if you want to listen to one of our 4 stations here in Fergus, you can just click on, and you'll hear Zach Daniels on those stations too. But I appreciate him engineering, and I was hoping to have Corey Fry in here. He might be still en route. We shall see. But the Hillcrest Comets had an awesome season this year, and they came up short in that loss to Hills Beaver Creek at US Bank Stadium last Saturday by a score of 46-22. And we'll hope to have Coach Fry here in just a couple of seconds. We shall see. But if not, we'll talk about that game. We'll talk about some more things upcoming as well. But for Hillcrest this year, just what a great fall it was, both for the volleyball team and also for the football team, and just for a school and a community. And what I really enjoy about watching is we know a lot of these kids, their families, is the community support. And I tell you what, having social media and things like that, whether your platform is Instagram or for the old folks, so it's Facebook or Snapchat or any of these things, just all the positive things going on with our student athletes in both Fergus Falls and Hillcrest and surrounding schools. But just an awesome season. I want to just recap their scores for the year here, and you'll just get a taste of that. But Hillcrest beats the Northern Freeze 44-8 to start out the season. Then they go to Rossay, win 36-20, an exciting game, and then they beat Hancock 40-14. Some big scores here, and then take on Border West. That's Wheaton, Herman, Norcross and Company, beat them 28-6, and then it's beating Winnemac 70-16 up at Winnemac, and then a nice win over Norman County East Ulen hit it all 55-22. And then beating the Underwood Rockets 54-6, and then during MEA, the Comets beat Ortonville 57-0 at home. Then they beat Rossay again 50-22, and then a win over Border West 35-14. And then we get to the playoffs, and a tough game and an exciting game with a big stop for that extra point attempt, the 2-point conversion by Mabel Canton. They beat Mabel Canton 40-38, and then a win over Kitson Central in the semifinals down at US Bank Stadium, 27-21, and then the loss to Hills Beaver Creek in the state championship game. We'll talk about that one a little bit, and I was actually traveling that day, heading down to Marshall for the Otter girls hockey game, and or was that that was the boys game. My bad, that was the boys game. But listening to Jason Retzloff and catching some of that game, Hills Beaver Creek compiled 481 yards of total offense. They had 243 on the ground and 237 from the air, or 238. And they had 25 first downs in the game, and you could see that they had the Comets on their heels in that one, but they got the things going. They scored minute 31 into the game, a 33-yard run by Brody Metzger. Recalled that we heard his name called a lot in that game. The 2-point conversion was good. And then the second of 3 first quarter touchdowns came, just 3:57 remaining in the first quarter. Michael Bush caught a 34-yard pass from Jameen Metzger, and then Jacob Wallen caught a pass for the 2-point conversion. And then there's another touchdown scored, so it's 24-0 at the end of the first quarter. Then Hillcrest got things going just in the 9:09 left in the first half, as Ethan Swedberg, who had a great career, took the ball in from 4 yards out, and then he threw a 2-point conversion to Drew Fisher. 2-point conversion was good, so it's 24-8 at this time. And then Hills Beaver Creek comes out with a couple more scores in that one, a 7-yard run by Metzger, Brody Metzger, and then Jameen Metzger, a 2-point conversion. And then they scored on a 6-yard run, and then it was 40-8 at the halftime. And so, but what's great about this Hillcrest team is they did not throw in the towel or anything like that, but Hillcrest cut the deficit to 40-22 with a pair of third-quarter touchdowns, and really a beautiful pass. Sean Berge on the receiving end, he goes up, comes down with the ball, scores on a 64-yard pass, and then hits Drew Fisher on a 30-yard pass with a 2-point conversion. And so Hills Beaver Creek then scores on a 5-yard run. They go up 46-42, and or they make it 46 points in the game. And then, so, it ends up 46-22 in a tough loss, but a great season. Not many football players can say they played in a state championship game. And in that game, Swedberg had 14 carries for 47 yards. He was 12 for 24 passing, 178 yards, 2 TDs. And Fisher led the receivers, 7 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. And Berge had 2 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown as well. But the Comets had 258 yards of total offense in that one. They finished the season 12-1 on the season. But congratulations to the Comets on a great season. So we're going to take a break and come back with more. So we'll take a short time out and come back more with our Coaches Show as we continue.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe, with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
The 2025 model year closeout pricing has arrived at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. They have just a handful of new 2025 Chevy and Buick vehicles remaining, and all of them are at their lowest prices of the year. From the Chevy Blazer to the Buick Enclave, you won't want to miss out on these great deals. Contact the sales team for more information.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show, brought to you by the Viking Cafe. And our coaches enjoying biscuits and gravy. And Zach Daniels, our studio engineer, and myself after this will enjoy some biscuits and gravy too. It's very, very good. And so stop into the Viking Cafe. And also the Viking Cafe gives away a $25 gift certificate every week. And so text 321-1926 Viking Cafe. And we do have a winner, and I'm going to announce that. And we look forward to Hannah Clark coming in just a couple minutes, Hillcrest girls basketball coach. But our winner of the $25 gift certificate is Clint Walter. So Clint Walter is our winner. And so stop in at the Layton Media Station, radio station here, and pick up that gift certificate this week. So look forward to that. A reminder, this afternoon we'll have Otter Girls Hockey on the air. And that will start at 3 o'clock, pregame show at 2:45. Just had a good visit with Isaac Vattenstall in his first year. And then I want to preview the upcoming week here on our Layton Media stations on KJ Country. Bob Roars will have the call of the West Central girls basketball game against Border West. And then on Tuesday night, it's Moorhead coming to town to take on Fergus Falls as head coach Matt Johnson and the Otter boys team open up their game. Again, Bob Roars with the call of that game. And that'll be a 5:45 tip-off and a 5:30 pregame show. And the same night, we'll have girls basketball as Sartell and Fergus Falls play the second game. And that'll be at Fergus Falls. That's a 7:15 start. That was postponed from last Tuesday from the weather. And then girls basketball, the Underwood Rockets and the Hillcrest Comets will play, and that Jason Retzloff will have the call of that on Tuesday night against Underwood and Hillcrest on KJ Country. So those are some of the games coming up. There'll be more games Thursday and Friday, just a plethora of games. But again, our winner of our $25 gift certificate is Clint Walter. We'll take one more break, and looking forward to talk to Hannah Clark, head coach of the Lady Comets. We'll have that after this break.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
The 2025 model year closeout pricing has arrived at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. They have just a handful of new 2025 Chevy and Buick vehicles remaining, and all of them are at their lowest prices of the year. From the Chevy Blazer to the Buick Enclave, you won't want to miss out on these great deals. Contact the sales team for more information.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show. Again, Mark Johnson filling in for Craig Olson. And again, Craig, and he's out caring for his brother Jim. And again, his sister-in-law Susan passed away too. So we'll keep praying for Craig Olson. So I'm joined by Hannah Clark. And Hannah, you want to slide that mic a little closer there to you? So there you go. Yeah. Isn't it great having an aunt that's been in radio forever?
Yes.
I shouldn't say that. So, no, I'm just having fun with that.
You know, it's been fun. I remember going to the radio station with her and my oldest daughter. She's even been on the radio with her. So it's always fun to get to see that side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that's a lot of fun. And I had a lot of fun working with your aunt. And yeah, and I've known the Draxton family for a lot of years, going back to your Ole Draxton.
Yes. Yep.
And Yvonne and such too. But yeah, so, but with that, let's talk some Hillcrest girls basketball. And Hannah, you're in your 9th year of coaching here, and where's that time gone? Huh? So,
I know it's went really fast. I still can remember my very first team here at Hillcrest, and it seems like yesterday. But it's just gone super fast. It's super fun, and I just could not be more blessed to be where I am right now.
Yeah, that is for sure. Just thinking about your team, and I broadcast that section championship game and such. But I remember just walking in the gym and started talking to your coaching staff in addition to yourself.
Mhm.
But talk about just what a treat it is to have the coaching staff you had last year and who you have this year. too.
Yes. Myself and our team, we are just so lucky to have the coaches we have. Their experience, both as players and as coaches, brings so much to the team. And they all bring something different, which is really, really nice. We always joke that me and Coach Retzloff, we are very offensive minded.
Mhm.
We love scoring the basketball. So our focus has always been on offense. And so we're so thankful to have Greg Preston with us, who is defensive minded, and he just loves to make the girls work on that end of the floor, which is such a good balance for us. Coach JP Stender brings a lot. The girls really respect him. He's soft spoken, but when he talks, people listen. And so to have those three with me, it's so nice. I can ask them for advice, and they're not afraid to speak up and give it to me. And I think that they love these girls so much, and that makes a big difference as well.
Yeah. So, with that too, I was thinking about, last year, and there's a lot of expectations,
Mhm.
for this Hillcrest team too. But, even your younger players and, you got Ella Knutson and different things,
Mhm.
but they've had to mature, the younger players, quickly.
Yes.
And they've really done great with that.
Yes, and that was one of our talking points at the beginning of the year, where as in past years and even last year when we knew that we had a chance to, make a run in the playoffs, we really didn't have many expectations. It was go out, play hard, learn from it. But this year I'd say there's a little more expectations for our team. And so it's good for our girls to know that and kind of feel that pressure. But at the same time, we just want to go out and play our game and play basketball. But from the very beginning, our first practice this year, they have worked hard. They mean business. They weren't very happy with the way the season ended last year. And so they've really are focused, and they have their minds set on their goals for the end of the year. And so I think they've got a good mindset going into this season, but at the same time, trying to keep it light and fun at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. So you open up against Mountain Iron Buell, very good team,
Yes.
good program. But talk about their team first, and we'll
Yes.
get into some of our individual things.
They were so good, and I think one of the things that that helped them so much is their depth. They could sub 4 or 5 in at a time and just continue to play very physical, very aggressive defense, and that just wore on us. Right now we're not super deep, and so as our legs got more tired, they just kept coming at us, and so we struggled with that part of the game. But man, Mountain Iron Buell, they are a good team. They've got shooters, they've got multiple girls that can score, multiple girls that can defend well. They are just going to have a tremendous season. But I think it was so good for us to start off with that, to see that physicality and that talented of a group. it really showed us where we need to grow as a team. And so it was hard for our girls to swallow that loss. But I think looking back on it now, we're like, oh, this was so good for us.
And you want to be playing good teams. There's no question about that. And thinking, I was talking to Josh Steer about this a little bit too, is, you can condition, you can do all these things, but there's nothing like getting in a game conditioning. And then on top of that is the mental part of it too. But there's nothing like game conditioning.
Yes, and that was a big part. Like I said, we got down early. We had a stretch of about 5 minutes in this first half that were not very good. And Mountain Iron Buell took advantage of that and built a 10, 12-point lead. And in the second half, we got it down to 1 point. But at that point, our legs were shot, and it was just hard to really overcome that 10-point deficit. And so that was a focus. We told the girls, if we want to be in games, we've got to be in shape. If we want to play the type of speed that we want to play at, we've got to be in shape. And the girls took that to heart. They know that we've got a condition. They know that our practices are going to be tough. And at the time, it may not be fun, but at the end of the day, they know what we need to do to get ready for games. And so they really work hard.
You had a balanced attack in that one too, didn't you? Ava Stender, 10 points, 8 boards. Ella Knutson, 9.7 boards, 5 assists. Ella Resloff, 8 and 4. Elin, 6 and 4. You just go down the line, but is that going to be kind of what we're going to see a little bit this year?
Yeah, I think our scoring will be a bit more balanced this year. Game in and game out, there might be one who scores 20, 25 points, but if we can kind of keep it nice and balanced and expect points from everyone that gets on the floor, I think that will really help us. Avea Stender had a huge game for us. She actually had only had one practice. She was coming off of an injury, and so we weren't sure how much she would even play. And so she practiced the Thursday before, and that was her first full practice. And so we got her in the game, and she did so well. She's got great hands. She turned a lot of poor passes into great passes just by catching them and being in the right spot. Her defensive presence is so big around the basket. She's tall, she's strong, she's aggressive, and for how tall she is, she moves really, really quick. So I see big things for her this year, especially with the focus that, Elin, Ella, and Elsa are going to get every night. Avea has a chance to really step up and really break out this year.
One thing that, some of our viewers and listeners know, these kids play multiple sports. And you go the volleyball season, you go into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you got to flip the switch a little bit too. And it does take some time, probably 3 weeks to a month, doesn't it? Really
and I think because they went far into the playoffs, and so they had a couple days off, and then the next week they jumped right, and I think they started captain's practice that week, and most of them were all there, so they really didn't take much of a break, to kind of have that switch of a mindset from one sport to the next can always take a little. And different sports, you say you played volleyball or you're soccer and boys football too, but basketball, it is a different conditioning and a different type of running. And so to get into basketball shape takes a little bit of time as well. But these girls have adjusted well, and we're looking forward to kind of getting into the routine of games every week now.
All right. Then you take on the Bram Bombers. And a little tidbit information. My mom and dad, my dad just passed away, but they live about 9 miles from Bram.
Oh, okay.
And my grandma used to buy her cars there and
Yes.
stuff. So anyhow, historically, they've had really good basketball.
They have.
Their boys basketball.
The Dahlmans are from there, and so they've got a rich basketball history there. And they've got a good team this year. They are scrappy. They play really, really well together. They're disciplined. They're fundamental. And so we knew that we were going to have to come in and play a good game. It was physical. Again, these refs really let us play this weekend, which I always think is good for our girls. To toughen us up a bit, but we tend to play aggressive as well. So anytime the refs aren't calling it close, that's typically good for our girls. But
I want to talk, when you were playing for the Otters, you know what I mean? It's changed at all levels, the physicality.
Yes.
Even in high school and college, did you see it get more and more physical, even down to high school now?
I think so. And I just noticed if I had to step in on a drill or anything like that, just how strong these girls are and how athletic. And I don't think it was like that back then, but I think you even look, if you look in the NBA, Larry Bird time, and from now it's way different. It just, the amount of resources for these kids to get bigger, stronger, faster has really changed the game.
Yeah. So you guys win 51-39. You had led 29-21 at the half, but Talk about how you finished that game. You know, you had an 8-point halftime lead, but kind of pulled away a little bit.
Yeah, we actually got it to about 20, 22 points.
Okay.
And then Bram made a run towards the end, and they got it down to, I think they never got it under 10. I could be wrong there, but we had some little mental lapses on defense. But it was good for our girls to have to work through that and figure it out on the defensive end of the floor. And they got some stops at the end when it really mattered and stopped Bram's momentum, and we were able to pull out with that win. And like I said, another physical game. They've got a really, really good guard in Morgan Risdom. She's strong. She's one of the better defenders we'll see all year long. And so to get to play against that defense and have to stop an athletic girl who can score at all three levels was good for us, a good test to see how we fare against that. And so overall this weekend was great. Would we have loved to come out 2-0? Yes. But I think being 1-1 and playing against some of the top teams in the state right off the bat is really going to help us in the long run.
In that game, Ella Knutson has 19 and 6, and Elin 16 and 6, and Elsa 9 and 5, and just going down the line. But yeah, just talk about just the play of those guys, and and thinking of Elin too, and Ella and Ella Knutson. You got all the E's.
I know,
Elsa.
I know.
There'll be a lot of eyes on them too,
Yes.
defensively too.
Yep, and that's Elsa. She didn't score much this weekend. She did so much so many other things for us, bringing the ball up against really high pressure defense. But Ella Knutson, it was so good to see her. We continually challenge her on being a little bit selfish.
Yeah.
She's such a tough matchup and a great scorer and can score from the inside and from the 3-point line. But if you ask her, she would rather pass and get her teammates open. So continually challenging her to look for her shot is something that we will do all season long. And to see her really in that attack mindset this last game was great to see. She looked confident. She looked strong. She was making all the right decisions with her shots. So that was so good to see. Elin had, what'd you say, 16?
Yeah.
And so she was looking for her shot. Overall, we didn't shoot the ball all that well. I think behind the arc for the weekend, we were like 6 for 52, which is not great, which is not typical for us, but we know that's going to happen.
Yeah, early on especially. Right?
And so we've really focused on, what do we do when we aren't shooting the ball well? And that's focusing on defense. But then we also had other girls who came in, maybe they didn't score, but to come in and give our starters some breathers was so big. Stella Moline coming in, Brooke Swedberg, Paisley Peterson. Another person who doesn't get talked a lot about because she doesn't typically show up in the scoring column is Emerson Berge. Her defense and her energy that she brings to the floor is so big for us. We can tell if she's on the bench and she's not on the floor, the pace changes. And so to have her out there guarding other opponents' best players, but then she's also starting to look for her shot. She grabs rebounds. She's actually one of our best screeners. She sees the floor so well. So she does so much for us. And I think she kind of flies below the radar just because we've got such a high-powered kind of big three in our three, Ella, Elin, and Elsa. But all of our girls bring so much. And if they can relieve any pressure from those three, it's going to help us tremendously.
Yeah. Well, what a great fall season too. And what's the vibe been over at Hillcrest, with the football team going to state? And, I think what's really cool too is just the Christian witness of the students and stuff.
Yes.
It has been super fun, but just talk about that a little as we kind of wrap up.
It has been fun. I mean, you look at the last 10 years between our football, our volleyball, basketball, is we've had some years where there weren't many wins in the win column. And for the players and the students and fans and the coaches to just stick with the teams and continue to encourage them, knowing that, if we continue to work hard, good things are going to happen. And so to see the success of the football team and the volleyball team and our soccer teams as well, has been super fun. But I think the biggest thing is those kids, when they step out onto the field, onto the court, yes, they want to win. They compete hard, but they know that they're playing for more than just wins and accolades. And so that's super cool. And if they can keep that at the front of mind, they just, the rest of the things will take care of itself. And so they're a super fun bunch to play or to coach. And they are super encouraging to one another across the board. they all go and support one another in whether it's music and whether it's athletics. And so this fall has been really, really fun. And I think this winter is going to be fun as well for the school.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Hannah.
Yes.
And glad you're coaching and giving back to the game you love. So
Thank you. I love it. So
all right. Don't
so
forget to
thank you.
grab some biscuits and gravy.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. That'll do it for the Coaches Show this morning. And again, thanks to Zach Daniels doing a great job engineering and keeping me on task here. And thanks to our coaches that came in. And thanks to the Viking Cafe, our sponsor of the Coaches Show. Don't forget, we have Otter Girls Hockey on the air this afternoon. 2:45 pregame show, 3 o'clock puck drop against Minnesota River. That's on AM 1250, streamed on the Fergus Now app. And also, go to YouTube and just search KBRF Radio. So everybody have a great rest of the day. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us for the News Talk 1250 KBRF Coaches Show, presented by the Viking Cafe and brought to you by the Minnesota Motor Company, Lake Region Healthcare, Nelson Auto Center, Quality Toyota, and Running Stitches.